Alright, so 2024 has been a pretty, rough year. A year of, good and bad. And in today's video, from those 12 months, I've been able to distill down 7 life skills that I believe have been the most impactful for me and are the ones that I took out the most from those 12 months from 2024. What did I actually get out from 2024 and what am I going to take to 2025 pretty much? Before we get into the 7 life lessons I learned for 2024 and will take with me to 2025, I want to give a little bit of context and kind of just summarize 2024 as just a whole year for me. So first off, it was my last year of school. It's in year 12. That's senior for me, so I'm from Australia, so pretty much it's school, year 12, and then you get to choose whether you want to go to college slash university. I always thought those two were different things, but apparently they're kind of like the same. It's really weird across each country, but pretty much university is in like higher education. I'm finishing year 12, and pretty much that is it for 2024. Got my certificate and whatnot. I barely passed, by the way, barely passed. I was pretty much on the brink of failing year 12. Really, the reason was I just couldn't care. I couldn't really care. And by the end of it, I had 4 subjects. So that was economics, business. Pretty much I had to drop economics and I had to drop accounting just because I thought pretty much if I were to do those exams, I would probably fail. That's because I just didn't try in the assignments and I didn't revise for the exams, or I struggled to. So I dropped those. I got extra credits. It works in a credit system. Get enough credits and you pass. And pretty much I dropped them for kind of like pity credits. Passed the other two barely, and pretty much just had enough to pass. Get my graduation of certificate of graduation. But in terms of the ATAR, like it's called the Australian Tertiary Admission Rank, kind of like this thing where universities can then take that and kind of judge you whether you can fit for a major or a study or a degree and study that in the university. Pretty much I got none of that, so I got a NA, which is not applicable. So either way, I wasn't going to go to university anyways. I don't really care. I don't believe that's where my career is heading. Therefore, that's why I don't think it is relevant and can make that rational decision. So that's how my last year of schooling went for 2024. During that time, I was in the real world for the first month for January until Iman dropped Iman Gaji. People say that I say Iman, personal preference, but pretty much in February, from the 9th to the 12th of February, he did his first public launch for Digital Launchpad, this $37 a month program or $270 a year program, which teaches hard essential skills to pretty much just make your first $1,000 and start building yourself up as a multifaceted entrepreneur. Since it's been close to 12 months, a year now since I've been in DL, safe to say I would probably make that as one of my best decisions that year for my career life and maybe even my life for 2024 and will be for 2025. During that time, I think around April or May or end of May, I eventually made a DL review, and that hit off and that did very well for my channel. But what it's also been able to do for about 5 months now, 6 months now, is generate me income as a affiliate marketing, revenue source from affiliate marketing. Just to kind of give a little history on it, pretty much I uploaded a review. You can find it on my channel. If you just sort by popular, you'll find a review on my channel, which is like my digital launchpad review. But pretty much I recorded that, and I just did that at the start, pretty much like purely just to help people, purely just to give value, because and you can find this in my older videos where before the review, where I say pretty much I don't actually see many reviews out there doing something for Digital Launchpad. Again, it was a new product back then, and before anyone dropped any reviews in this such, I just saw a gap in the market. I'm doing it out of passion, out of my own motivation to do it, because I just felt with the quality and the lack of the reviews that I felt I need to step in and I need to produce another review, which is Digital Launchpad. And what I then chose to do was take advantage of that. And I was like, okay, I want to fill this in and help people to better understand everything they wanted to know about Digital Launchpad. Hence the review name. Everything, here's everything you need to know about Digital Launchpad, something along those lines. And since then, it's popped off. It had its high, but somewhere down the line, I think maybe 1 or 2 months down the line, DL actually announced their beta affiliate program, and pretty much I got a personal invitation from Jonas Arnold, the affiliate manager. Yeah, it was great. It was just amazing. Invited me in instantly, pretty much. There was an application form at the start, but pretty much as soon as I applied, I got let in straight away. I probably didn't even read it because I was already qualified. I had a video which produced a source of views and attention, and it was long form, so it was amazing. I talked about what I loved, and eventually I was invited by the program that I loved in order to endorse it. And pretty much all I did then was just optimize the description and slap my link in there. And since then, it has just been doing wonders for me. It's, as of now, allowed me to make my first $500 online, which is a small amount. It's a very, very modest amount, but it's just a start, and it's allowed me to nonetheless make my first $500 and marching towards my first 1,000 online through business, which has been done from me being a affiliate in Digital Launchpad and for Digital Launchpad. Enough rambling, enough backstory. I think it is time to get into the meat of the video, which is the 7 life lessons I learned for 2024. I'll go ahead and get straight into it. Here is the 7 life lessons I learned from 2024 through just life, through Digital Launchpad, through reflection, through going through my last year of school, learning about hard skills, following who I respect and look up to along the way, and just observing life. First one, which is honestly the only one related to business, and is more practical in that sense. The other 6 are mental and more psychological. The first one is picking a business vehicle for where you are and doing the simple, boring work. I've heard this reverberated time and time again, where people think, oh, don't do what he says, just do what he does. And it's mental. Let's take a very popular figure from where we are now, and someone that I closely respect and look up to, and I'm in the program of for Digital Launchpad, which is Iman. I don't like to say the full name. I kind of look at him, again, me personally, I don't put him on a pedestal. I feel like I've known his story since July 2023. I kind of have an idea of his good and his bad side, and to be honest, I respect him. I do not put him on a pedestal. At this point, as of right now, we've had the 4-figure deals challenge, and through interactions here and there, I've been able to talk to him on. He's been saying it again and again, which is just simply doing what he did in order to get to where he is now, and not the other way around, doing what he already does now to get to where he is now. It's not at the start, when you have no experience, when you have no capital, when you have no leverage, you have no employees, no contractors, no this and that to do your own work. Why would it ever make sense for you then to, start putting money into a software which requires so much capital between developers and infrastructure and all that stuff, or investing in a physical product brand, buying selling clothing, apparel, just any physical goods, merch, for that example, if you cannot bootstrap in the first place, because that kind of stuff requires you to be a seasoned entrepreneur with capital, already hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars in capital ready to spend, to be able to get up the business and already have a stream of income, to already have multiple skills. Horizontally you've stacked a lot of skills, and vertically you've stacked a lot of skills as well. When you're starting off in business, do you think you have any of those things? Obviously not. You don't have, you likely have very little money to work with. You have close to no skill. You have pretty much no leverage. It's just you. Why do you think then you should start a full-fledged software business or an info product business when you have no credibility, no authority behind your back, this and that, when you quite frankly are just not in the right place to do that? When there is that much disparity between you and the difficulty of succeeding in this business, your success rate is probably close to 0%, right? It doesn't work. It doesn't work for you, right? Well, if you were to take someone like a very seasoned entrepreneur with lots of skills, lots of leverage, has plenty of business acumen, and he's been in the game, or she's been in the game for years and years and years, and they have hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars in capital and a steady source of income and traffic and cash flow in order to be able to invest into starting up another business and start building up the empire. Honestly, their chances of succeeding, say if they had a personal brand and plenty of eyeballs coming to them, they could easily funnel that into an info product business, and no matter what, they're probably not going to really lose money on it. They're probably going to make a good amount of money for a year, depending how long they want to sustain the business. And they have the acumen, they have the credibility, the authority, and the experience to be able to provide and give proof to people that they are fit to teach this business. And then therefore then people would buy into that product and buy into that service. Right now, you don't have that. What do you need to start from right now in order to get to that position where maybe then you want to make bigger business plays for yourself and make something yourself and start a legacy and this and that? Is starting from the very bottom, investing in free content or paid content through courses, communities, coaching, high-level communities and networking groups in order for you to grow your skills. To grow your skills and start skill stacking, which will pretty much start building inherent value in yourself as an entrepreneur. That is what allows you to then become a multifaceted entrepreneur, which then therefore you have value and you can provide that to the market. Literally all it will start from is just one skill, learning that skill, learning to just be decent, be good at that skill, and just start picking up small gigs and small deals and pretty much building up your value and getting good at that skill. And then once you're good at that, you stack on another skill, you build more value in yourself, you stack on another skill, etc., etc. And building a business is pretty much just taking usually a plethora of skills. You don't need to be good at it. You can be a T-shaped entrepreneur, which is, having a lot of skills, but being good in one. And pretty much you can start a business from that. You could start a coaching business, you can start a, your own coaching business if you have a decent following. You could start a info product business, a course, etc. All these things, but you have to start from the very bottom, earn your stripes and work your way up. And so learning that, I realized if I want to get into anything, the simple play is usually most of the time, you have to have capital, you have to have experience, and you have to have, things in the first place. There's an order, kind of like a sequential order to business. Usually you start from the very bottom, you're like a freelancer, and you start providing services for people. And then usually, turning a service into a business would literally lead it to creating a agency. And what you do then is you use this agency, and that is when you start to develop more cash flow into yourself and actually get profitable cash flow, money that you can actually fucking work with. Pretty much once you have that cash flow, money that you can actually use, that is when you can start pouring it into investments. That's where you can start pouring it into watches, into crypto, into building a course business, building the next info product business, or doing consulting and getting high ticket gigs, where people start to pay for your time or people start to pay for your expertise because you got good at it. The second life lesson I learned from 2024 is just staying in your own lane. You are your only competition. You go on social media and everywhere you fucking see, you see the highlights of people, and you see this fucking 16-year-old and he's making 50K a month, and you see these theme pages saying, oh, you need to be a fucking millionaire before, by the time you're age of 18, and it is just utter bullshit. Cannot tell you how much peace I found from not listening to those, or at least taking them from a grain of salt. Because listen, we hear those ideas in the entrepreneurship space, prove them wrong, this, that, and it just creates so much, unnecessary friction and torment in your life that you have to unwork. Seriously, social media is just fucking cancer to listen to. It is just the biggest cesspool of the most stupidest opinions and things ever. You just gotta realize pretty much the theme pages you are listening to and letting into your brain is pretty much run by a bunch of idiots who have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. No expertise, no experience, no money. You are your only competition. You're not competing with anyone else. And for some of you, you will disagree with me. I used to be there. I'll tell you this. I used to be there in that place where I thought I had competition and this and that. And I just realized creating this scarcity in your mind when truthfully, you gotta realize how much money and opportunity there really is in the world. Seriously. Of course there's competition, but you gotta realize how easy it is to stand out. You don't need to worry about no competition. You need to worry about you being better at what you do. That is it. That is it. And doing it better for yourself. And just being, 1% better every single day. And so to do that, what you need to do is, and I can't give you a exact blueprint for this, but I can tell you the simple virtues and ways I did it was just understanding what is actually my life purpose. What do I really want? Going within and actually finding out who am I, and understanding also my business, understanding what I do. Currently what I do is I do affiliate marketing, I do content creation or personal brand, and I do copywriting. I have my own email marketing agency, or at least I'm getting it up. And those are the things that I focus on. And those are the things that I solely learn, and I cut out all the other bullshit about building a course, building a no-code SaaS, to just focus on those four things. And those things have allowed me to just be calmer, stay in my lane, and not think about the competition. In fact, because of that, I'm able to help people and give value to people because I don't feel fucking insecure about sharing a plug and play, because I understand information is abundant for the first one. Guys, remember, the internet has democratized information. What you have in your hands, even if it's been repackaged into a product, there's some similarities or copies of it out there. And your competitive edge, your competitive advantage is not going to be information. The advantage is actually being able to apply it, getting your fucking head out of the sand and thinking that you need to have a fucking Lamborghini and a Hurricane in this age, and actually working on the character that will actually get you there. And so you just need to stay in your own lane. You need to cut out all this bullshit about thinking you need this and you need to beat this person, and just realize, just do it for the sport. Do it for yourself. Do it for your own life. Don't worry about beating other people or proving people wrong. Prove yourself right. I'd much rather have that idea than thinking that the whole world is against you or this and that. Just understanding that and just learning to think abundantly and not in a scarce manner, whether with competition or with money, thinking that there is a scarce amount of money in the world, or like, oh, if I teach this person while they're in the same business as me, I'm going to bring in competition. And like, I don't want to bring in competition. I've heard that shit before, and I just think it's fucking ridiculous. I think it's absolutely ludicrous. No, go out and help people. Go out and give advice to people. Do good for people. Even if they do the same business as you in the same market. I've found plenty of that with copywriting and info products or e-commerce, right? And I'm not concerned, because the point is that there's so much money out there. There's so many opportunities out there. When you actually crunch the numbers of how much is in the market, how much is in with the amount of prospects that you could reach out to in every single niche, you're not bringing in competition by helping one person figure out one problem in their life. Yeah, also, again, with just time, thinking that you don't have time. And listen, I still hold that, thinking that, yes, you should make the most out of your time, but just learning to stretch the timeline and being patient with things. With saying all this so far, again, there's nothing wrong with having context down the road, but just understanding to stay in your own lane and focus on where you are now, and not looking at someone else who is in Bali in a beachfront villa and thinking that you need to get there within 12 months or you're screwed or some shit like that. And so to do that, having context for the road ahead. It's fine for you and it's good for you to have someone ahead of you, a virtual mentor, someone you look up to, who can speak from experience about these things. For me personally, again, I can't advocate and I can't respect enough anyone else in the space, unbiasedly than Iman. Understanding it's a marathon, not a sprint. You don't need to fucking sprint every single day and pull an all-nighter and this and that. Take your time. It is a marathon, not a sprint. Take one step at a time. Take it one day at a time. Set a plan. Go for it. Learn on your own. Start to actually think on your own, not about anything else, and actually question things. Don't live on autopilot and just question everything that isn't actually your thoughts and just regurgitations from social media and this and that. Learn to stay in your own lane and find peace in your own pace. That is the goal. Now, the third life lesson I learned for 2024 is to focus on the action and detach from the outcome. We all want the outcome. We all want this kind of goal, and we all want to achieve this goal, but you got to realize to get there, and this is so simple, by the way, but just to get there, you need to actually do the actions and accumulate those consistently and persistently throughout the year in order to achieve them. Any goal you want takes time, but in between where you are now and where you want to be in 12 months, 6 months, 3 months, 9 months, whatever it is, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, in between those is just an accumulation of actions that you need to take on. Actually focus on what is the actions you're doing every single day correlated to that goal, and just measuring yourself by that, because it's not measurable to say, oh, I'm just not there at that income level yet, I don't have that car yet, and so therefore I'm not successful. Focus on the action. Focus on doing the actual thing which is going to move you towards that goal. And again, this ties in with my last video where I talked about action-based goals. That was pretty much the concept, and it follows the exact same way. Not focusing so much on the outcome and focusing on the steps that you're going to take every single day and making yourself accountable to those things in order to reach those goals. And so doing that allowed me to take accountability and also be honest with myself and forgive myself when I didn't do the action for one day, etc. And understand where do you need to kind of just recalibrate, where do you need to just push a little harder the next day to do better and do better work, so that at the end of the year you can look back and say all the work you did was for a reason. All the work you did, you tried your best. And so you can do that, and you can only do that by looking at your actions and not looking at your goal and thinking that if you don't achieve this, if you don't get that fucking Lamborghini, Rolls Royce, whatever it is, that therefore you're just marked as a failure. It's like, no, don't forget all the work you put in between, whether you achieve the goal or not. Don't forget all the work you've put in between in order to push yourself more further and make progress towards the lifestyle you want, the income you want to reach, the places you want to be, the things you want to do. Listen, every single day it's not going to be perfect. You're going to have lows, you're going to have lies, and it's just understanding this too shall pass. Everything will pass, and that will keep you more level-headed, more stable during the highs, so that you don't get hung up so much on the highs, but you also don't keep yourself down and pull yourself down on the lows. And just understanding it's just one bad day, it's just one bad week, it's just maybe one bad hour, but it doesn't mean that you gotta just conclude and jump to conclusion and say that you're a failure or this and that, and you didn't reach your goal and this and that. It's like, no, you tried, you put in the effort, you did the right actions. It just didn't happen for that year. And this journey of entrepreneurship, as much as it's more easier to do nowadays, still majority of people don't respect it. Majority of people think it doesn't work. Majority of people think it's a fucking scam. I've heard it before. And when your back is against the wall, when you have barely any people to talk to in real life, you have no one here who can intimately talk to you and support you along the way. You are your only person. And so you can either beat yourself up, or you can support yourself, be gentle with yourself, being hard and being accountable to yourself where need be, and always catch yourself when you're getting soft. But of course, just checking yourself, like your own coach, and being your biggest supporter and picking yourself back up when you fall down, and keeping yourself humble. Even just praying to God that does this exact same thing. But keeping yourself humble. When you get a nice win, and maybe you get too comfortable, and so it's just like being your own friend, being your own supporter in that matter. So the fourth lesson, which will probably be the longest lesson for this one, is becoming the person before you attract the material. And now this life lesson is been probably the one that resonates with me the most, because I personally believe that character is more important than the accolades and the worldly desires. I truly believe in nowadays finding fulfillment, finding life purpose. People call it a why or your north star, and to do that, you pretty much, and a few people have asked me for this, but pretty much to do that is to just, like, in simple, just be conscious of your everyday life, what you think about, what you hear, what goes into your ear, what goes into your mind, the way you act, the way you behave, and really just breaking down who actually are you. Are you just a figment of social media's quotes and mindsets, or you're actually someone who can develop your own thoughts and make decisions on your own without any other external influence? And to do that, you can journal, you can meditate, you can do a lot of introspective work, mental models, introspective exercises. You can do things like Kundalini meditation, Vipassana meditation, or you can just take a book, open up to a random page, and just jot down how you feel about something and how you want to change on your own. And eventually you actually start to develop a authentic and original character. And listen, of course, you have influences, you have people who influence you. We all do, for the most part. If you can take someone's idea and try and break it down, so then you actually can digest the process, the mindset, and actually form it into your own answer, in a way, you're still achieving the goal. And again, it kind of ties in with the last few life lessons I've been talking about, again, with social media and whatnot. So much people just care so much and think that the material is the success, and you come to find out, great, you get your Rolex, you get your nice watch, you get, you realize with this material stuff, what you're actually going to care about is the experiences you had. As corny as this is, let me just get my point through. You're going to actually care about the time you had with your friends, the time you had with your family, the experiences you got to enjoy along the way, the actual life you reached, the richness of your life, and how well that was, instead of just working all day and thinking that now you drive a Porsche 911 GT3 RS turbo shit like that, and thinking you're the top dog, and yet you have all these insecurities under the surface, and truthfully you're just doing it to cope and think that, again, there's competition and that you need to play this numbers game of just, you should just get 1 billion and that's it. And you want to be like the next rapper, the next entrepreneur, where they're, driving around in jet skis and G-Wagons, and, they got an iced out watch on them and whatnot, and they got all these girls, and you thinking like, this is what I need. It's like, no, like, with all these things, they all come down to you. They all boil down from you as a person. And so listen, if you get comfortable when you get success, that's your character showing, and that's really a reflection of how long your success will last. And disclaimer, it probably won't last that long. That's why I believe that you should become the person before you attract the material. And even with materialistic pursuits and all that stuff, personally for me, I think the only thing here is that it's only character that lasts. And if you want anything in life and you want to keep it as well, and you want to grow it year on year on year for the rest of your life, and become someone of genuine reverence and importance, you got to build a character that people actually care about. Someone who can be a good leader, someone who can talk to people well, someone who can attract the right person into their lives, whether it be good friends that won't snake you out, to curating amazing networks, to actually getting You know, and there's another thing. People think that, oh, when I get the money, when I get a nice body, even that, oh, I'm gonna get the best girl in the world, and it's not really the case. The truth is that it's character which matters. And listen, if you only had money, you'd be attracting pretty much strippers, gold diggers, and hoes. That's just how it is. But when you can actually become the person, become the right person that your future wife would actually want to be around, someone who is loyal. You know, unfortunately, that's hard to come by. But at the same time, like vice versa, you need to become the person that they want just as much as you want the person that you want for yourself. Works both ways. The truth about materialistic pursuits is it's just an empty race of restless work for numbers and validation when you realize, quite frankly, no one gives truly a shit. And as soon as your money comes and goes, they will come and go as well. You gotta really find out, do people actually want you for who you are, or do people just want you because you can buy them an extra bottle in the nightclubs? That's kind of one of the reasons why, personally, for me, I fucking hate quick buck entrepreneurs as much as I hate lottery winners. Lottery as in like people thinking that, you know, you just get this big fucking high. You know, again, it could be the same thing in like entrepreneurship where you get a 100x in crypto or whatever, some shit coin. And pretty much you get there, great, you have the numbers, you have the success, but you gotta realize, great, you have this money, but it was honestly, quite frankly, it was out of luck. How do you keep that? How do you fucking grow that? On and on. So now you're in this, pretty much in this dilemma where you're gonna get comfortable because of your own money. You're gonna get comfortable because of your own victory. And this is the similarity between lottery winners, big crypto wins, people who pretty much get lucky on a random shit coin or altcoin, and quick buck entrepreneurs who just pretty much get that big high. They get that success, and guess what? The common denominator between all of them is they get comfortable. They get comfortable. They weren't used to the success. They have too much pride, too much ego, too much insecurity still there that I haven't worked on, that still hasn't been eradicated throughout the process of hardship, of going through the process. And pretty much now, they get comfortable, they get cocky. But eventually, 1 year down the line, 2 years down the line, 5 years down the line, guess what? They lose all their money. What do you hear about lottery winners? The statistic is very blurred, but like, I believe within 5 years, most lottery winners lose all their fucking money. And they literally, quite literally, earn somewhere around from 50, 10 to 50 to 100 times more than the average person will in their fucking life within the span of 5 years. And they either go pretty much back to where they were, or they're in an even worse place because they had all of that success and now it's completely gone because they decided to blow it on chains, big liabilities, all this stuff, and just not realizing that this thing comes and goes. And you gotta realize it is not a matter of getting something, it is a matter of keeping it and growing it year on year on year. And so that personally for me, why I could talk about this topic for hours and just say why luck is genuinely going to be your worst nightmare. If you think you're going to get this big win with no work, you are in for a rude awakening. You do not want that. The story is there for a reason. It is there so that you can remove your pride, remove your ego, and build yourself up to someone who actually deserves that success and doesn't go crazy once you get it. The grass is not greener on the other side. Really get this in. The grass is greener where you water it. And again, to do that, you need to go through lots and lots and just perpetual amounts of deep-rooted, true internal work, not external materialistic desires and just attaining things to try and compensate for how insecure you are. The insecurity that you need validation from other people, the insecurity that you need to prove people wrong. You are all you got. The materialistic stuff comes and goes, but at the end of the day, it's you, with your skills, with your experience, with your learning, with your wisdom. That is the only thing you keep within yourself. Moving on, the fifth life lesson is understanding that environment is everything for success, for where you want to be. As you know, I've joined Digital Launchpad and I've been in it for 12 months now. I've been an affiliate and I can safely say, when you start off, and I'm sure all of you guys relate to this, if you're doing business, if you're doing online entrepreneurship, or if you're pretty much just with anything, you're going against the grain. You'll feel when people give their opinions on you, you feel that sense of exclusion, and I completely understand those emotions. It's hard to go through, and everybody goes through it when someone disagrees, or a group of people outnumber you, and they ostracize you, they criticize you for those thoughts. It can hurt. It does, right? And say when you're doing business, you will have family, you will have friends, pretty much just instill doubt into you that what you do is risky, what you do won't work, what you do is just a waste of time, what you do is a scam. And I can tell you from experience, I have felt all those things, both from family and both from friends. I understand that it's don't take it personally, by the way. All those kind of opinions, all those kind of comments, they come from, you could say insecurities, but I could also just say more so in a unbiased manner, more so they just haven't experienced that. They don't understand the other side. You gotta understand, these people are just regular people most of the time, and they're just following a different path. And therefore then, when they hear about this different path they haven't ventured in before, they have no idea what it is, the views that they give to you is just opinions. It isn't facts. I want you to take that to heart, because sometimes we take into heart the wrong things, the opinions of other people who, quite frankly, aren't qualified to actually talk about what you're doing. Listen to people who are actually where you want to be. It's really, really simple. If you want to seek advice for business, succeeding in business, who do you go to? Do you go to the cleaner in your school? Do you go to the technician building PC parts? No. You go to an entrepreneur who's done it, who's done the work, and can tell you from experience and actually going through it. That's why you should find a virtual mentor. Again, I've said that before, but finding someone who's actually qualified to simply speak about what you're talking about. Again, if you have a problem, a health problem, you had an injury, or you've broken your bone, who do you go to? You go to someone who's vetted. You go to a doctor. You go to a surgeon. You go to, if you want help with therapy and rehabilitation, you go to a therapist, you go to a psychologist. If you're having trouble with your relationships, you go to a counselor. And pretty much just take this as a piece of advice. Listen to people who are actually where you want to be, and who are actually qualified to speak about what you're doing. If they're not there, in the nicest way possible, in the most respectful way possible, don't fucking listen to them. Of course, listen to it, take it with a grain of salt, but do not treat it as a fact ever, right? Treat it as an opinion, and move on. Just move on. Don't try and argue with them. Go to someone who is actually qualified. Being able to be in DL, where I surround myself with coaches who do business or talk about business, entrepreneurs who have done business and ran multiple businesses, to people who are doing business alongside me, who are starting out or ahead of me and already got their first few clients, or making a few money through gigs, or making a few sales, who can actually speak on those things. Okay? And that's the people I listen to. I listen to my accountability partners. I listen to my coaches. I listen to Iman. I listen to Ali. I listen to Melik. I listen to Maria. I listen to Rebecca. I listen to Storm. If you don't understand who any of these names are, this is inside stuff from DL community. This is the staff. This is the people who actually help us and guide us through our entrepreneurial journey. Those are the people I listen to. I just don't listen to people who aren't qualified to speak about what I'm doing. The sixth life lesson that I learned is to celebrate the small wins and earn your stripes. I get it. Online business is hard. You won't see results for a fair while, right? And that's why you kind of need to stretch the timeline. But part of also that is just being able to take credit for the efforts you put in for a day. The small win you got here, the small gig you got here, the reply you got from a prospect, or closing a client and invoicing them, or just being able to do some paid work. Please, whatever it is, whatever those small wins is just to celebrate it, because at the start of your journey, what you're trying to do is you're trying to pick up experience. You're trying to pick up proof of concept. And to do that, you need to go through the fucking ringer. You need to go through the fucking battlefield. And you just need to, unfortunately, you're just not going to hit it off, and usually you're just not going to hit it off the first way. But what you need to do is just focus on the smaller details, the smaller things for now, and just relish over the small wins. If you go to my playlist, I am currently on a ongoing series to just reaching my first $1,000, and I'm halfway there. Pretty much, I've been doing that through multiple waves of payouts from affiliate marketing. And again, those weren't big. They were like $50, $100 max a month. But what I did was I didn't sweep it under the rug. I didn't ignore it and think it wasn't big enough, and it wasn't, $2,000. It wasn't this shit, and I'm still not $10,000 yet. Again, detaching from the outcome, focus on the action, taking any result I did and giving myself credit for it, giving myself a pat on the back. When no one else does, you should be doing that for yourself. When you get a small win, say you get your first sale on an e-com store, you get your first conversion as an affiliate, celebrate it. Fucking celebrate it. Get a bottle or something, like celebrate it. Don't sweep it under the rug, because what you just got right there was proof of concept that it actually works, and that all you need to do now is just work smarter, work harder, or work more, and that's it. But you've proven it. You've created that proof for yourself, and that is so key for exponential growth at any person's life. When they start off in business, it is huge. It is probably honestly more important than when you start signing regular high ticket deals on daily, and you sign $1,000 client here, $1,000 client here. You will not cherish that as much as your very first win, when when you were questioning everything about it, and then you got that one win which just changed it all. I know that this is not going to be where I end. I know that I have so much to grow, so much more to achieve in my life, and I know while I would achieve much more, much greater, 100 times, 1,000 times greater than where I am now, I know I will not cherish anything more than my very first fucking affiliate payout from DL, from Digital Launchpad. I believe it was like $100 or so, a little over $100, no more than like $200, because they were transferring from a platform to this, and so I got the remaining balance from my conversions. At that time, I didn't have a PayPal account. I was under 17, but when I got that affiliate payout after I turned 18, oh my god, it was so sweet, because I knew at that point things just clicked together. It works. It's worked for me, and now all I need to do is just double down and go ham on it. And that to me brings more fulfillment and more gratitude and just more credit to myself than anything else. And so understand to cherish the small wins, and understand that this journey is of 1,000 miles, but it begins with one step at a time. It really does take 1,000 days to achieve overnight success. And so understanding that every single day, cherish yourself and give yourself credit for the work you do every single day, the actions you take in order to achieve your goals, the small wins you get along the way, whether it be a small gig, getting your first sale on an e-com store, all of these things. If you get your first success in it, cherish it, celebrate it, buy a fucking bottle, or just relish over it. Give yourself some time to not sweep it on the rug and move on, and just sit in the moment for a second and realize you got your first win. That first win is going to be everything. That's the first, tangible result in your journey, and you have so much more to come. And so just give yourself credit for once. When most people, they get something and they sweep it on the rug, and then, when they, fail and they enter their lows, they enter a plateau, they forget everything that they've gone through, and then they beat themselves up, they call themselves a loser, and pretty much the cycle repeats, and they never pick themselves back up. The seventh life lesson, the final life lesson to end it off, is to understand that you just can't have it all figured out. This is a personal problem, and even though it's the life lesson that I've learned, I'm still going to learn it. I know that I'm just going to have to learn this the hard way, because my kind of archetype is someone who is very perfectionistic and wants to perfect everything, wants to have everything ready in a way. And you will see that when I'm still working on my NSO, my setting my copywriting agency up when I said I would do that months and months ago, and I kept pushing it off. And at this point, I'm starting to pick up the pace, with being out of school, having no interruptions, but it's still something I work through. And I've just come to learn that part of experience requires taking action and getting those references under your belt. And to do that, you just need to go through the fucking ringer. You just need to go into the battlefield and go through it. Even if you don't have the perfect plan in place, even if you don't have the perfect thing in place, and building empirical knowledge, because that will teach you far faster than anything ever will. And I think part of it comes from, I'll say this first one first, which is ego and pride, and thinking that you need to be this perfect thing, and you can't fail. And that's a fucking lie. Listen, all of us are not perfect in any way. We're all imperfect in our own ways. We all have trauma. We all have things to work through in our own lives, in our own private lives. We all have problems in our life, whether it be with family, friends, understanding this concept, learning this, grasping what someone else says, arguing with people. We've all been there and we've all done that. And again, that's kind of why my fourth life lesson was just focus on the character. Screw the number, focus on the character, because that is going to be the thing that is going to be the nucleus and at the core of everything that you achieve in this life. And so it's an overthinking problem, and I know that I just need to work through it and start taking action and actually start just fucking getting punched in the face. I'm starting to take that face value. I'm starting to just understand that what I've done now is I'm starting to actually just kind of set the basics of things and just go forward. It's so funny. I've been able to do that for my channel, where if you look at my first video, it is in shambles. I did that on the lighter version of Premiere Rush. That's what it is. In really horrible lighting, horrible angle. I had no idea what I was talking about, and I just started out of a whim. And that first video was absolutely horrible. If you go to the first video, I'm embarrassed to revisit it, to be honest. And since then, I've made plenty of horrible videos that I'd probably cringe at now. But eventually I got better over time. But then when it comes to something like copywriting, building up an agency, stuff like that, I just had so many worries and anxieties about, what if I mess up on outreach? What if I sign the client and then I don't know how to build them? I don't have an onboarding prepared. I don't even have an invoice prepared. I don't have an onboarding funnel prepared. I have no way to, I have no idea of my communication. I just never felt to fuck that up. But, the second part from potentially just being ego and pride is I genuinely think it's from school. One thing about school that it will do to you is, again, what happens when you are given a test or you're given an assignment, you're given an exam? You have one fucking shot, right? And so that's why then students and pretty much everybody who goes to school, they're taught pretty much that they have to perfect this thing and make this one beautiful thing. When you're given an assignment or a test or an exam, you're like, oh, I need to fucking perfect this. I need to study so hard and I need to get an A+. There's even stigmas, and there's even standards and stigmas and expectations from parents that you need to get a very high grade so then you can get into a top-notch university and then, get the best degree that you can. And pretty much society and all these systems push towards us this idea that we need to be perfect and we need to be model workers, citizens, etc. You gotta just unwork that from your mind, unwind that belief from your mind, and realize that when you're in business, there's no such thing as failure. If you fail, it is not the end of the world. Your business is not gonna fall apart. You simply get feedback, and then you iterate, you tweak something, you fix it up, and that is it. If you can fix it up in advance, great. But just build. For me, I just learned you can't have it all figured out again. And just understanding the best way to do it is just to build an MVP, a minimum viable product, a minimum viable business concept, whatever, but something that is just basic, the basic structure of it, the basic foundations of something, and just roll with that. Roll with that to start off with. I'm sure there are plenty of mistakes I made. The biggest one obviously being just being perfectionistic about it, I guess. thinking, because I did a lot of research and this and that, and like researching 101 tools that I would need for my agency, in which I cut out pretty much 90% of them, 95% of them. Kind of as a little practical takeaway from this seventh one, which is from me and to myself, is to kind of strike a balance. If you're the person who takes lots of action with no direction, take action, of course, but then of course the solution would be to start implementing frameworks and start finding a direction, actually finding a structure which holds what you're doing together. And if you're the person who overthinks, get into your head, please, the framework of getting out a minimum viable product and putting it out there, and realize that you're not going to fail. You're just going to get feedback, right? If you can see it ahead of time, work on it. In the meantime, whether it be outreach, a system, this and that, making your agency better, but just start with the basics and work your way up from there, right? And you can start implementing along the way. You'll get feedback either way, okay? But the most important part is you going into the habit of doing so. Otherwise, you're never going to fucking start. Or you're just going to quit before you know it, because you've overthinked everything and think that everything needs to be like this and this is the standard. No, the standard is pretty fucking low, but you just need to start. That is the end of my rant. That is my 7 life lessons from 2024, which I would take to 2025. If you have watched over my goals video, you'll kind of see that it is kind of translated over a little bit, kind of like, with the theme of, I want to take more action and actually make it happen for myself, because I know I have a year window to do so. Yeah, my wishes for 2025 personally is just that I start taking action. I start actually just, unwinding a lot of the personal problems and personal trauma and personal beliefs that I may have in my mind, which are actually quite limiting, and continue to build a authentic character, actually develop my own thoughts, and have critical thinking in everything I do, and just not be on autopilot and just regurgitate quotes all the time, and actually come from a place of original thought. So that's my wishes, and again, my wishes for you as well coming into this new year. Even though it's only been 14 days now as of where I am. I'm recording on the 13th of Jan. But again, guys, it's only been a few weeks, so it shouldn't be that bad. And you have 11 months now. If you've already fucked it up, just understand it's temporary. It's very temporary. Just try to be better tomorrow. That's be better every day, 1% better every day. I like that kind of idea, and that's the kind of ethic I go for every single day. So progress, not perfection. It's a marathon, not a sprint. It takes 1,000 days to achieve overnight success. The things I've been saying in this video, they all go for that same idea. So for you guys, I wish you the best for 2025. I hope that you've set the right goals and the right intentions for the year. If you haven't, go ahead and watch the last video. I assure you will get a lot of insights from it, hopefully as you did from here. And other than that, that is the end of any due videos I had for 2024. I wanted to get these 2 videos out before 2024, but better now than never, right? So I hope you guys have enjoyed. That is the end of my rant. I'm gonna go ahead and fall the fuck asleep, and I'll see you guys in the next video. So I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.